I was born out on the Lappahaw River. You want me to tell you a little story about the Lappahaw River?
Sure do.
Okay, now, believe it or not, now, if you want to do a little research, you can go back and find this story. Now, my grandmother, she's about 90-year-old when she first began to come to our house. And she'd sit in a rocking chair, and all of us kids would gather up around her. And she would begin to tell us stories about the Civil War and things that happened back during that time. And here's a story now, you can believe it or not. Now, it did appear in the Valdosta paper, in the Valdosta Times, and also in the Berrien Press. If you want to do a little research, you can look it up. But it happened, a young boy, back in those days, he went down on the Lappahaw River looking for some hogs down there, was lost. And while he was down there was some animal. Now, they said it was a tiger. Now, you believe it or not. They said it was a tiger. But it appeared now in both these papers. They said it was a tiger. He jumped on this boy's back, and he clawed him up, and he bit him, and he thought he had killed him. And he tried to drag him back in the river swamps down there. But he's too heavy. He couldn't carry him. So, instead, he covered him up with leaves. Covered him up with leaves. So this boy, when he became conscious again, he was almost dead, but he got back to the house, and he told his brothers and sisters and his parents and everything about it. Well, they formed a search party, and they went down there looking for this animal. They had their dogs and their guns and everything. That was on Lappahaw River now, right over here. And when they got down to the swamp, the dogs, the first thing, they began to bark, and run all down the river swamps. Well, it wasn't very long before all them dogs came back, and their hair was standing right straight up on their backs up there, and they're just whimpering, the dogs. So the men decided they'd go down there and see what had happened. Well, he went down there, and an old uncle of mine, his name was Hamp. Now, this is history. Now, if you don't believe it, you can go back and search. His name was Hamp, and he was a little bit behind all the rest. Well, this animal, whatever it was, jumped on his back. Jumped on his back. And he began to claw him and bite him and almost killed him. Some of the rest of the fellows in the search party looked around back there, and they saw what was happening, and they had a gun, and they just shot whatever it was. If it was a tiger or whatever it was, they shot him and killed him. And when they killed him, they had to pull his claws out of Uncle Hamp's back there. Now, this is history. Now, if you don't believe it, all right.
I'll believe it.
If you don't, well, you can go back and search the records, and that's part of the history.